Gusev.
No, it's not that. It's Happy Gusev Day. Gusev Day.
Oh, by the way, Nick, it is National Chicken Wing Day, and I was supposed to be at an all-you-can-eat chicken wings dinner tonight, but instead, we all dropped everything. To do the State of the Fan Address Special Edition, Episode 15, because the New Jersey Devils traded for Nikita Gusev. We're all fired up. Devils fans are all fired up. The breaking news Let's Go Devils podcast went on at 3:45. Man, was it out of control. It was out of control. I was out of control. And I actually heard the audio, on my way back to my other studio. And I thought to myself, Nick, you know what? This is going to be a very, very awesome podcast. And we have 3 guests lined up tonight.
This is a jam-packed show, Sam. This is a jam-packed show because we did an entire show on Gusev. I think it was like 3 weeks ago, and it was one of our most watched shows of the Let's Go Devils podcast with, of the State of the Fan Address. I don't want to speak for you and Beer Baron and Shorts Guy, but as far as the stuff we've done together, I think that was the most watched one we've done because people are excited about this kid, and they should be. And we'll get into that. But right now tonight, I wore a Walking Dead shirt because Ray Shero is eating up the competition this offseason. It's insane.
You know what? I have to apologize to Ray Shero because a few years ago, I thought to myself, what are you doing? What are you doing, Ray? What are you doing? And everyone said, oh, it's a rebuild. It's a full rebuild. It will take time. But the problem is, Nick, I'm a very impatient fan, and I wanted results now. But man, when I thought it was just a marketing tactic, kind of trust the process. Man, I'm kind of liking the process right now, Nick. I'm loving it. Right. Yeah.
So here's the thing, Sam. I just want I want to look, and I got to commend Josh Harris because when I look at Josh Harris's 2 franchises, the Philadelphia 76ers and the New Jersey Devils, they took the long road, and it was rough. We as Devils fans know it was a rough road. But you see his 2 franchises right now, and these are 2 franchises that look like they could be contenders in a few years. And I'm not talking about playoff contenders because they're both playoff contenders now. But I'm talking about title contenders because they're making those kinds of moves. They're making, compete for playoffs now, compete for titles then. Those are the moves that Ray Shero is making. Those are the moves that Josh Harris has let Ray Shero make. And Sam, look at this. I can't even keep up with the comments right now. They're just coming such rapid fire. And, and this is what's great about Devils fans right now is the opinions are all over the place. We got people who are so excited through the roof doing backflips off the roof. And we got, some fans who are like, hey, we still have needs, which is, I would argue that. I don't think this team has any more needs right now based on what they can do. The only thing I could see them doing is trading Sami Vatanen and then making a move from that. But I'm getting way ahead of myself right now. We need to talk Gusev. Stop letting me go on tangents, Sam. You got to stop me. I'm all hyped up. Well, I've had Red Bull and coffee today.
I was literally screaming on the top of my lungs the last podcast with Shorts Guy. We dropped everything. Fans dropped everything. We all went crazy. And I'm just, as you were doing your little monologue there, I'm just on social media right now, just eating it up. It is out of control. I've got PMs to the Let's Go Devils podcast platforms. People tweeting, "Why aren't you guys on air?" And I'm like, it's been 15 minutes since it was official. Give us some time. Like, we're scrambling. We literally dropped everything. I remember texting you, Nick. It was insane. It was absolutely insane. But we got it. We got it on air. The reaction has been tremendous. You can find all this on the Let's Go Devils podcast platforms, on Facebook.com/Let's Go Devils podcast, Twitter, Periscope at Let's Go Devils pod. We have our YouTube channel that's absolutely going crazy now. The channel is Let's Go Devils. Twitch is gaining followers, so I think we're up to 6 now. We're 7. Like, it's amazing.
Yes.
And I don't even know anything about Twitch, right?
Yes.
And
also, we got to start playing video games.
Yeah, I know. We will get to that at some point. And also, we're streaming live on letsgodevils.com, all powered by Nova Product Design on the Primetime Radio Network. And this is the State of the Fan Address, episode 15. Pucks and Pitchforks, editor-in-chief, Nick Villano. And this is all powered by Fansided. I am your host, Sam Wu. So, all right. So now that we paid some bills right there, we got 3 guests coming on, and Kevin Clark has a special announcement on the Bobby's Auto Care hotline. I mean, he said, "I'm not telling you." It's like, well, how am I going to screen this, Kevin? If you're listening, what do we know? He's got something to tell us, but it's a secret that he's going to reveal on the State of the Fan.
Sam, we haven't even have we even announced the big guest we have on Wednesday?
Oh yeah. Well, we not only have a big guest on Wednesday, but we also got a T-shirt thing going on Wednesday. We were teasing it on the last vlog. All right, so who's our big guest? Who is our big guest?
Oh, no. I'm going to make them wait, Sam. They have to wait for this whole podcast before they hear the big guest we got coming.
Oh, I'm glad
we're going to tell them at the end.
Yeah, I'm glad we didn't.
I call that the mean tease.
So, but I'll be the nice tease about the T-shirt. So, I had this idea. Shorts guy just ran with it. We got this new T-shirt design, and I think I sent it to you. But don't blow the T-shirt design, because we're going to release it Wednesday. The new designs, and we're going to ask fans, which ones they want, which ones, what color scheme or this and that, and one lucky winner will get the first printed T-shirt. And and we're going to release that on Wednesday. And Nick, give me your honest opinion. What do you think of those T-shirts?
Sam, I'm going to enter the contest because I want to be the first person to get that T-shirt. I want that T-shirt.
Wrong answer. You can't enter the contest, buddy. You're part of the Let's Go Devils podcast crew. If you win that first T-shirt, we're gonna look bad. So that's why we're gonna kick you out. But we will get you a T-shirt though. So it just can't be the first one. So the first printed T-shirt will go out. And let me tell you, the only clue I'm gonna say is it's so Jersey. It is so awesome that even if you don't like the Devils, but you're from Jersey, you probably would buy one. I swear to you.
No, I'm going to be honest, and I'm honest to a fault. I'm honest with my writers. I'm honest with the fans of Pucks and Pitchforks, as some who I've angered, including today, will tell you that I'm just sometimes I'm too honest. But this T-shirt is something that I would pay decent money for, and I'm cheap. And I fell in love with this T-shirt. And there's some people making some really good designs, even with some Devils stuff. But this one might be the best Devils T-shirt that I've seen. And I'm not even just blowing smoke, Sam. I love this design.
Checks in the mail, Nick. Thank you very much for the plug. And I'm just kidding. No, it's actually a pretty cool design where I almost wanted it within an hour. But Shorts Guy created, he actually created over 200 of these today, which I pulled him from his T-shirt experiment printing, and pulled him to do this podcast. So kudos to Shorts Guy. Thank you very much, Shorts. We love you, and can't wait to release this on Wednesday on all of our platforms. All right, so let's get back to the topic at hand. Facebook Live, Twitter Periscope, and YouTube Live. I asked everybody to give us a big woo. That's what we did on the last podcast, and the excitement and enthusiasm. All right, so we'll talk to Tyler Kelley about that Pucks and Pitchforks blog. Also, Kevin Clark has got something special to say, or that I don't know what that is. And Beer Baron calling from the Shore House. He couldn't be here with us tonight, but but as we're doing the podcast, So anyway, my initial thought was, first off, I was wrong. Okay, we had some debate about it, but I think I had to be the bad guy in that debate, if I remember correctly, because we can't just always all agree, right? So, and on the Let's Go Devils podcast, breaking news, a little bit earlier, I was already dreaming of Goose and having the Top Gun line of Maverick, Goose, and Iceman, and when they score the game winning, when Gusev scores the game winning goal against the Rangers to knock them out of the playoffs, that it's going to be like, yeah, Jester's dead, that kind of thing. So, I'm all excited. I know everybody else is. And I think David Holliday wrote in the Facebook Live group that I was yelling a lot this morning. Yeah, I definitely was, but it was actually this afternoon. Depending upon where you are. I mean, if David Holliday lives in Hawaii, I can understand why he said morning. But anyway, moving on. So you're excited, Nick. What does this do with this lineup? I mean, I'm sure we should save it for Tyler Kelley, but maybe we should get him on right now, and maybe if you want to go solo while I get him on.
I could hit it. I could hit him up for just a minute. So just you go get Tyler, and I'll kind of give my initial thoughts, because Tyler's been on this guy for months. So go get Tyler. He's the expert he's the Gusev expert. And then I'll give my thoughts initially. So basically, this guy, I've been watching film of this guy a little bit today with the little time that I had. And, I've already seen a bunch of film on him because I've been trying to, we've written a bunch of Gusev articles already. I've edited it from other writers that have been on and talked about Gusev. But this kid has NHL level just about everything. He has NHL level speed. He's not the fastest guy, but he has NHL level speed. His hockey IQ is great, based on what you usually see from the KHL, what you usually see on Russian ice, what you usually see from a positioning standpoint, from getting used to the other team's speed standpoint. He's just above and beyond what everybody else is doing. I had a fan today ask me, why did this guy fall to the 7th round? And there was a lot of question marks when he got drafted. That was years ago. You got to remember that the Tampa Bay Lightning just threw this guy in just so the Vegas Golden Knights wouldn't take two defensemen who aren't even on their team anymore. So that's kind of an interesting little peg to this. But, this guy, he was a late bloomer. He was a little bit of a late bloomer, but he's just the past 2 years, he's won the MVP. This isn't just a guy who's just getting points and just picking up points for no reason. This isn't Alex Rodriguez and the Texas Rangers. This is a guy who's dominating the second best league in the world. The KHL is the second best hockey league in the world. And he dominated. And, I was saying a couple things to my writers today, because my writers are on the fence. They're split. Some love the deal. Some hate the deal. I love the deal, obviously. I'm making that pretty clear. But the one thing that I know that they point to is, look at the other guys who are up in points. Brian O'Neill is a name that we all know and not many of us love. And he's up there in points of the KHL. But Gusev was double-digit points ahead of the number 2 guy. Number 2 was double-digit points below. So this was, I got to double-check to see. I know Nikita Gusev was the points leader this year, but I'm pretty sure he had a pretty I think he had a pretty sizable lead on the next guy. I got to just double check that. But either way, we look at Nikita Kucherov as having this dominant year, and I don't know if he had more points than. Okay, so Kucherov had 12 more points than Connor McDavid, which is, Gusev had more than that in less games against the number 2 guy. So Gusev had 13 more points than the number 2 guy in the KHL. He just dominated that league. He was done with that league. He was too good for the KHL, the second best league in the world. It's time for him to come to the NHL. Sam, I see you're back.
Yes, I'm definitely back. I have Tyler Kelley of the Pucks and Pitchforks blog on the Bobby's Auto Care hotline. He is an expert on all this, and we love to talk to him. His Twitter handle is @DocKelley41. Tyler, welcome to the State of the Fan Address. Thank you for coming on.
How's it going, gentlemen? It's good to be on.
Pretty good.
Hey, Tyler.
Pretty good.
Tyler, I think we've talked for about 2 years now almost, and this is the first time I'm hearing your voice. This is an interesting sensation. We live in a texting world, I guess.
Yeah, that's just the way the world works now.
So, Tyler, you've been on Gusev since before we won the draft lottery, and it might have been before that, but I know that it was before we won the draft lottery. This was a guy that you wanted. So can you tell me what was the thing that made you notice him? What was the first thing that you were like, oh, this is a guy that the Devils should target?
I don't even think I had Gusev as like one of my number 1 targets coming into the year. But as things kind of shook out, it just seemed like the move made sense, especially when Vegas was tying up all their cap space. They traded for Stone, extended Stone. And if you looked at his performance, not strictly in the KHL, you looked at specifically at World Championships when he's playing for Russia this year. He was playing on the line with Kucherov, and they absolutely tore that tournament up. He had 16 points in 10 games playing alongside Kucherov. And obviously, Nikita Kucherov is a major factor in that. But if you actually watch those games, Gusev drove play. He was a huge contributor. You don't just get 16 points by tagging along. And obviously he dominated the KHL. And it's not like it's a one-year thing. He had 71 points in 57 games in 2017, 62 and 54 in 2018. I mean, he's just consistently dominated the second best league in the world. And to get him for a second and a third round pick it's a classic Ray Shero heist.
I mean, this is what I keep telling people. And they traded Nikita Otyuk, they didn't actually do that, but they traded the equivalent of Nikita Otyuk and Daniil Misyol for a guy who's going to play in the second line in the NHL tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, to me, Marcus Johansson is a good NHL player. He didn't have great success in New Jersey, but he's a good NHL player. He had a good year in Boston. But the Devils paid a second and a third for Johansson. And now you're looking at a player who I'd argue has a higher ceiling than Johansson, even though we don't know that floor yet because it's his first year in the NHL. We don't know that floor. But I look at him, and I'd compare him more to Evgeny Dadonov than I would Artemi Panarin coming over. And Dadonov has torn it up in Florida 2 years in a row, and he just doesn't get the recognition because, well, he plays in Florida.
So what do you think about, I know a lot of people who are on the dissenting side are worried about him getting used to that Americanized, that North Americanized. That's something that's hurt a lot of Swedish players, that's hurt a lot of Russian players in the past. What about his skill set is going to help him or hurt him in that regard? And how long do you think it'll take before he meets his true potential in the NHL?
I think he comes over, and I think he makes an immediate impact. And what we see this year is probably what we'll see going forward. He's a 27-year-old, so it's not like we're talking about a rookie coming over. And I don't think it's going to take as long as people think for him to adjust to NHL ice. He came over at the end of the KHL season last year. He's been skating with Vegas for a while. He obviously, the biggest factor for me is his vision. He's got great vision. He sees the ice well. And that's what's going to translate so well. And then you think about the fact that he's not going to have to do it all on his own. He's not a rookie coming to a bad team where he's all that they have. He's coming over and he's going to be playing on either Nico Heischer's or Jack Hughes' wing. And that's all it's going to take. He's going to be playing with a phenomenal playmaker no matter what. If you throw Kyle Palmieri on the right wing, Gusev on the left wing, and Jack Hughes down the middle, I mean, Gusev won't even have to do much. All he has to do is get the puck to Hughes, get the puck to Palmieri, and they're going to score the goals. And he has the vision and the playmaking ability to do that. I don't think he's going to score a ton of goals in the NHL. I don't think he'll be more than a 20-goal scorer, maybe. And I'm talking like below 20s. I'm talking like 21 goals, 20 goals or less. But he's going to pick up 40, 50 assists a year. And that's going to translate. That playmaking ability translates. That vision translates.
So that's where I kind of separate from you, because I feel like when I watch tape, and you probably watch a little bit more, and you delve into the stats better than me. I'll you're definitely, that's one of your best traits, is how you can see those underlying stats and use it to predict future performance. But when I look at this kid, I mean, the best thing I've seen so far is the shot fake and then the put on net. He freezes every goalie in that league. And I understand that the goalies are better in the NHL, but a shot fake that's that good will freeze any goalie. I mean, he literally looked like he already passed the puck, and then he shoots it underneath their right or left arm, depending on which side he's on. So I'm curious of why you put his ceiling so low when it comes to goal scoring.
I see what you see with the shot. He has good deception, but I don't think that the deception is going to be enough for him to start scoring a ton of goals at the NHL level. I think he's going to be good. And like I said, I mean, 20 goals in the NHL isn't it's a lot. Not a ton of players score 20 goals. And when you're talking about a second line wing, 20 goals is a good amount. But I just don't think he's gonna come over and he's gonna blow people away with his shot. I think he's more of a playmaker. He does have that good quick release, that deceptive shot. But I think the reality is he's going to come over and he's going to be not quite a point per game, but he'll be just below that point per game threshold. I think his over-under for points this year is like 65-ish. And I think you're looking at about 20 goals and 40 to 50 assists.
So me doing the math right here. First, let me ask you this. Do you think he's going to get power play time?
That's the toughest part of the equation, right? Because who's on that first unit? Hall, Palmieri, Heischer, Subban, and probably Simmons. That's your first unit. So then your second unit is kind of probably going to be kind of your leftovers unless they bump Palmieri down. And I don't think there's going to be as big of a drop-off between the first and second unit anymore because they've added so much talent this offseason, right? They drafted Jack Hughes. They just traded for Gusev. They've got Bratt, Boquist. Butcher will probably be on that second unit because you're not going to play Subban on that second unit. So I don't think it matters whether he's on that first or second unit so much because the second unit isn't going to be Travis Zajac and, you're going to throw Stefan Nason on the unit anymore. It's going to have a ton of talent now.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's my problem is I was trying to make power play lines, I think 2 or 3 nights ago. So we didn't even have Gusev, and just trying to make it work was hard but the one thing that I came out of it is that we were going to have 2 really good power play lines, and getting this Gusev kid. I mean, I call him a kid. He's 27, so it's not like he's like Hughes or Ty Smith's age, or even like Jesper Bratt or Nico's age. But this is a kid entrenched in his prime. Great shot. He's great hockey IQ. He knows where to sit. And he's another guy who he has an office where he can just shoot the puck. He doesn't have as good of a slap shot as like a Palmieri, or especially not like Ovechkin or anything like that. But he is a guy that once you get him the puck, he can kind of do things with the puck. And I think that's going to be good on the power play. So I don't think you can really not put him on the power play. I don't think you made this trade to keep him off the power play. But man, that Simmons thing, really, I don't know what to do with him. And I see a lot of people like you putting him on the first line, and I'm kind of like on the fence because I mean, you see his 5v5 numbers, and you're like, oh, that's it's hard to translate that when he's doing so well on the power play. But point is, I'm going on a rant. That's what I do. I think that this trade is going to – the one thing that I think this trade is going to do is going to give the Devils the deepest lineup they've had since they went to the Cup in 2012. And I think that's the thing that Ray was looking for. He was looking to see that team that had, David Clarkson scoring 30 goals from the third line. And that's kind of what you need in today's game is you need guys who are going to up and down this lineup, do well. So getting to the question that I'm going to ask is, who do you think this is going to help the most? Who do you think this is going to, who is Gusev going to impact the most in a positive way?
So that'll depend on who he plays with, obviously. I think the biggest beneficiary of all this in the end, and not necessarily strictly just from Gusev, but the biggest beneficiary is Kyle Palmieri. Kyle Palmieri isn't going to get forced into a second line where he's not playing with Hischier and Hall, and he's got a steep drop-off now. If he plays on that second line, he's with Hughes and he's with Gusev. If he plays on that first line, he's with Hall or he's with Hischier. So I think we've seen really good numbers from Kyle Palmieri goal-wise, and I think this year he breaks the 40-goal threshold. As long as he stays healthy and he keeps catching passes from Hischier, Hall, Gusev, Hughes, he's going to put pucks in the net. He's going to score 40 goals. And I'm confident when I say that, and I think he's going to be the biggest beneficiary here. I think he's going to have a great year with the amount of talent that they've added this offseason.
So, yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, I've never seen this much talent acquired in one offseason from a New Jersey Devils team that I could think of off the top of my head. I mean, we've talked about the time that they, got Mogilny, but I believe that was a midseason trade. I'm just trying to think of the other times they've acquired these huge assets in the offseason, and it's usually one and then some complementary pieces. This offseason, they've picked up 3 major pieces in Hughes, Subban, and Gusev. They picked 1 complementary piece in Simmons, and then they got 2 major future pieces in Smith and Boquist coming along. I mean, where are we going to fit all these people, Tyler?
I mean, it's a good problem to have, I guess. It's not often, it's not ever in the past 5-6 years that you said, wow, the New Jersey Devils have too many good players. What are we going to do about it? And it's a legitimate concern with somebody like Jesper Boquist and Jesper Bratt too. If you don't think Bratt plays on that first line or second line, then he gets bumped down the lineup a little bit, and that's unfortunate. But the reality is the Devils have picked up enough players that you're not going to have to see Stefan Nason in your top 6 anymore. You're not going to have to see Miles Wood in the top 6 anymore. You can get 15 goals out of Miles Wood in a fourth line role now, and that's going to be huge. I mean, that's where we saw him have success in 17-18, and this move just pushes players down the lineup. It doesn't rush Boquist. It doesn't rush other prospects. It doesn't force us into a situation where we're playing Pavel Zacha a role above where he should be, and we're hurting his development path. So, and even adding Simmons helps that too. I know we're not all fans of Simmons, and I get that, but his production on the power play is really good. He's not a slouch. He's going to sit in front of the net. He's going to do the dirty work. He's going to score goals on that first power play unit. I'm confident about that. He's going to be great there. And as long as he plays fourth line minutes other than that, I think we'll all be happy.
So Tyler, I mean, yeah, if we have Simmons, so here's one I want to float to you. It's something that you don't see a lot in the NHL, but you see it a lot in other sports. So I'm trying to see how we can implement it. I feel like the Devils, with the lineup they have right now, and with Taylor Hall's injury history, and with worrying about somebody like Jack Hughes hitting a rookie wall or Jesper Boquist hitting a rookie wall, what about just playing everybody? You got 16 minutes for the first line, 15 minutes for the middle 2 lines, 14 minutes for the fourth line. I mean, I feel like that the Devils have that kind of talent right now.
I think what we're going to see this year is I think Hischier and Hall will get about 20 minutes a night. And then Hughes and Zajac's lines will flip-flop. If the Devils are leading, then Zajac's going to play more minutes in that shutdown role. If the Devils are losing, then Hughes will play more minutes in that role where they want a line to go out and score goals. So you might see a night where Hughes and Gusev end up only playing 13, 14 minutes because the Devils get the lead early and Zajac plays a ton of minutes. But, yeah, I mean, this team's talented. Like, we talked about Zajac and Coleman in a shutdown role, but they were good offensively last year too. Blake Coleman, he generates a lot of chances, and he's got a good shot. Zajac can score, as he showed last year. As long as he's healthy, he can put points up. So you're talking about a third line slotted in the right place. You don't have your third line playing as your second line anymore. So the Devils really do have the best depth that we've seen. And I'd say this team probably has more depth than we saw on like that 2012 team that was, led by Covey and Precy. This team has depth, and it's not just offensive depth. Defensively, adding Subban, Vatanen, Severson, Butcher, Smith, and Green's fine in a third pair role. This team has so much depth. It's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I think Green's good in a third pair role. Sam, did you have something to say?
Yeah, this sounds all great and positive, and I'm drinking the Ray Shero Kool-Aid right now. But Tyler, I have to ask you, and I hate to be the devil's advocate, I wouldn't say negative, but I am concerned. This all looks great on paper, but what could go wrong? Because right now it's like almost too good to be true as a Devils fan. Like, I don't think anything could go wrong, but because there's so much depth and youth and speed and skill throughout this entire team. Do you think that there's going to be a malfunction somewhere?
I mean, I don't see it happening. I mean, nobody knows. I guess the biggest what could go wrong here is Taylor Hall going to re-sign? And I think by trading for Gusev, you address that problem too. If Taylor Hall's not going to re-sign, then you trade him. You move him for a package right now. If you've acquired Gusev, you've acquired Subban, you drafted Hughes, you signed Simmons. If you've done all this and Taylor Hall won't re-sign, it's time to move on. And that's going into a completely different topic. But that is number one on the what could go wrong. And even worse than that, you keep him to start the year. He gets hurt. You can't trade him. Then he walks. Injuries could affect him. And then goaltending is still always a question. Corey Schneider could be healthy. He could not be healthy. If he's healthy, are we getting old Corey Schneider? Are we getting end of last year Corey Schneider? Which Corey Schneider are we getting? Is Mackenzie Blackwood going to continue his development? He played great last year, but he just doesn't keep that going, or is he regress to where he was one of the worst goalies in the AHL 2 years ago? So I think the biggest question mark entering the year with this team is in net. But I think they've made enough improvements throughout the roster, top to bottom, that even if the goalies are dead average, if they are super average NHL goalies, this is a team that'll be fighting for a playoff spot and probably makes the playoffs because they've done so much else. And, I mean, that's not guaranteed. Gusev might come over and he might flop, but I think the odds are that he doesn't flop. Odds are that he comes over and he produces. You probably get somebody who puts up 50 points, and you're only paying him $4.5 million a year. That's nothing for the kind of production that I think we're all expecting from him. But obviously there's risks, and the biggest one right now is Taylor Hall.
Agreed.
So let's talk about Hall real quick. Oh, I'm sorry, but let's talk about Hall real quick. I've seen you say in our chats, so I'm going to call you out a little bit, but you said that you wouldn't be heartbroken if they sent Hall away for a big package. Are you feeling differently now that this team is built the way it's built?
No, I want the Devils to re-sign Hall, but if they trade him, I wouldn't be upset. No. And obviously it depends on the package, right? But we know Ray Shero is a trade god. So if they move Hall, it's going to be for a package similar to what I expect we saw Vegas give up for Max Pacioretty last year, and it'll be based off that package, but obviously come with a lot more. Instead of a second round pick, you add in a first or another first, and you're getting that high end prospect, and you're getting that top six forward. And I love Taylor Hall. He's a phenomenal player. He's unreal. But does he fit the age window of this team necessarily? It's hard to say. I don't really think so, because now the core of this team is now Nico Hischier and Jack Hughes. So you're talking about a 21-year-old center and an 18-year-old center. That is the core of this team. Ty Smith, throw him in there eventually. But those are the two players we're building around now. If Taylor Hall isn't on board, I am completely fine with them moving him in a package that brings picks and it brings an NHL top 6 forward and it brings a high-end prospect because that'll fit this window more. And I'd love to see him re-sign, but slightly injury-prone, elite winger signing for about $12 million a year at 7 years when he's 27 years old is a little scary to me. But I still want him re-sign. So there's that.
So how long do you give Hall now? Like, he said all he wants is to be a playoff team, a Stanley Cup team with Hughes and Hischier down the middle. And I mean, the only question mark right now is Blackwood. But if Blackwood is even a top 15 goalie, I think that this is most likely a playoff team. How long do you give him to make that decision?
My deadline before the season started was July 30th or 31st. So we're getting pretty close to my deadline. I think we're at the point now where Shiro calls Hall and he says, "Hey, here's your final offer. Take it or leave it." And now he has until September 1st to make a trade if he's not going to sign. And maybe they want to wait because they want to make sure he's healthy, and I guess that's okay, but it's a little risky. But I think now with the roster set, you say to Taylor Hall, here's the offer, take it or leave it. If you're going to leave it, then we're going to move on and we're going to trade you.
All right, so we got one more question for you, Tyler, then we'll let you go on about your night, which is much earlier than most of ours over here on the West Coast or on the East Coast. Just hitting Gusev up one more time. What should Devils fans expect from him? Just give the 2-minute scouting report on Gusev.
So over under point total for me is 65 points. I expect him right in that 65 area. He's a good skater. He's a phenomenal playmaker. He has great vision. Like we talked about earlier, he has that deceptive shot with that quick release where it doesn't look like he has the puck anymore, and all of a sudden it's by the goalie. I'd look for him and Hughes to play together, and whoever plays on their wing alongside him to benefit from those two creating space, generating a ton of chances, and they're going to score a ton of goals. I don't think he's going to blow you away. He doesn't have a wicked shot, but he does have good deception. He's just a good player, and I think his game will translate well. I don't think the smaller ice is going to affect him too much. Just look for him to generate a ton of assists, and hopefully he gets a power play time, and he's effective on the power play too. But I think he's going to be a great playmaker, and I think it's going to translate well to the NHL.
All right, Sam, you got anything else?
No, that's it. Tyler, just to let you know before I let you go that YouTube Live, Twitter Periscope, and Facebook Live were just eating this thing up. We'd love to have you back on the State of the Fan Address. You were answering every single question precisely, and when people asked about the goalies, you went right to it, and we really appreciate your insight on this whole Gusev and the New Jersey Devils' future. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. I'd love to come back. So have a good one.
Great.
Thanks, Tyler.
Well, thanks, Tyler. Well, that is Tyler Kelley, a Pucks and Pitchforks blog. You can find him on Twitter at Doc Kelley. It's Kelley spelled Kelley 41. That was a great interview. I learned a lot, and I'm telling you, I rarely go to the YouTube Live chat room. That chat room right now is on fire, absolutely on fire. Facebook Live is on fire. Facebook.com/ Let's Go Devils podcast, and also Twitter Periscope. We've got 136 concurrent people on at once right now.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. I don't know what happened there, but yeah, this is the topic of the hour right now. Gusev traded to New Jersey Devils and signs a 2-year deal worth $4.5 million per year. Lots of things
Sam,
going on. What's that?
Before you go to Kevin, I just want to point out this was the first line for, I believe this was the final game against the Florida Panthers. The first line, Miles Wood, Travis Zajac, Joey Anderson. That was the first line of that last game against the Florida Panthers that we had to see to end the season. Now, if the Devils have 7 injuries, they could still have, Gusev, Hughes, and Simmons on the first line, or Jesper Boquist, Jesper Bratt, and Nico Hischier. Like, the depth on this team is absolute insanity, and that was something that was why we were so upset with what Ray did last offseason. And honestly, I was upset too. So I will say that I'm wrong for being upset, but I also did say, and I think I've said this to you, Sam, where I said, you know what, I think that was part of the plan. Looking back at it, it looks like that was part of the plan. But I mean, we were upset because this team had no depth. This team was relying too much on a John Quenneville to break out, or a Michael McLeod to really hit it hard in his rookie season, or somebody to pull a Jesper Bratt, when you can't rely on that to just happen. That it does happen sometimes when you draft well and you develop well, like Ray Shero has. But when you're going into the season and that's no longer a surprise, that's an expectation. That's when that's when the depth really hurts you. And this season, Ray Shero was like, we're not doing that. We're putting out an NHL lineup, and then we're going to put out another NHL style lineup in the AHL.
Yeah, who would have ever thought that Ray Shero can just turn on the switch just like that and make awesome deals while preserving his chips for the future? I mean, seriously, I don't think he gave up that much for Gusev in retrospect, or PK Subban, and getting a little luck there, getting Jack Hughes. I mean, ever since Jack Hughes has been drafted, the dominoes are just falling, and they're falling in the right direction right now. This team is a winning team, and I think a lot of us Devils fans, we want to start winning again. Right now on paper, we are just blowing it up, and that press conference with PK Subban, I mean, we're making noise in the NHL. We're making so much noise right now, and it's like, this is the NHL news cycle right now. Devils. Couple signings here for other teams. Devils. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Sam, honest to goodness, in any offseason, good or bad, have you seen the Devils dominate the headlines this often?
It's usually the other way around, like circumvention of the salary cap. It's always
retirement.
Yeah, Zach Parise takes 15,000 years to make a decision. That kind of thing.
And then he takes 15,000 years from Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean, the only time I remember that I felt good but did not take over the league news was Jamie Langenbrunner and Patrick Elias signings, right? I think back in 2007.
That was slightly negative, because didn't they? Are you talking about the year that they traded for Langenbrunner? Because they gave up. Didn't they give up Arnott in that deal?
No. I'm talking about re-signing Langenbrunner and re-signing.
Oh, okay.
Patrick Elias, because there was all this talk. Will there be enough salary cap space, this and that? And then the whole stunt that Lou Lamoriello pulled right after the first year-long lockout of Vladimir Malakoff, you go off skiing. All right, now you're retired. Dan McGillis, we're going to take your salary. Basically, Lou Lamoriello invented putting him down to the minors. And who was the other M? It was a Maffichuk, or I forgot who the other M was that they had to bury.
I know you're talking about. It's his
the
name.
So it's like, it was always negative news, but this isn't a positive light, and they've got one of the most charismatic, likable, outspoken, good guy in PK Subban. and he comes with star power and dating and living with his girlfriend Lindsey Vonn and all that. I mean, they're practically attached to the hip and come as a package. I mean, this is great on all fronts with Devils marketing. And we were talking a little bit of Devils marketing on the earlier show. And, there's a lot of things you can do. And when the Goose scores, we're going to be flapping our wings and doing all that crazy stuff. But yeah, it's going to be great. Nick, I'm really excited. And let's ask the Devils fans out there right now. Are you excited? Are you absolutely excited what's going on with the New Jersey Devils? Give us your comments, questions, or anything you want to say on the Facebook Live, YouTube, and Periscope, and Twitter. But yeah, so let me get Kevin Clark because he's dying to tell us something. And maybe you want to start reading off some of these comments if you can keep up with it, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to keep up with Sam. I mean, we got David Decker. He's been commenting all night. He's just wooing. He's going nuts. Douglas Walker's excited. Imagine a world where the Devils might get more than 2 nationally televised games on NBCSN. I mean, honestly, if the Devils don't get 7 games this year, and I'm being conservative, but with all the hoopla, all the hype, all the talent on this team, if the Devils don't get 7 nationally televised games this year, and that's important to me because I live in Florida, so I don't get the I buy the NHL package. So, but there's a lot of fans. When you look at the Pucks and Pitchforks staff, we have 10 writers, and more than half of them don't live in New Jersey. New Jersey fans are everywhere, yet they're missing out on this great team because whatever. I mean, we got to see if there is that Devils bias that we've talked about, where they just don't put us on for whatever reason. I mean, last year we had the NHL reigning MVP and we had 1 game or maybe 2. We had 2 games. I think we had 2 games, and the year before we had 1 game. And we weren't. They put our playoff game on the Golf Channel. Anyway, I could go on that all night. Balin here says he still thinks we might have a Gardner signing on a 1-year deal that will make me drop my phone for the 4th time this summer. Let me tell you this, Balin, and everybody out there, the Devils still have $12 million in cap space. $12 million. Think about that. They just signed. I mean, they couldn't fit another forward in here if they wanted to. Now they still have to. I believe they still have to add Ty Smith and Jesper Boquist's numbers in there, but that still gives them around $10 million. They could give Gardner 1 year, $5 million, and still have room to make moves at the deadline. And we know that Ray Shero loves to have that wiggle room, but I'd even give him a 2-year deal, 2-year, $10 million. Come play for the Devils. Come be a Devil. And then we lose him in 2 years when I think he's going to see a major drop off because I'm worried about the skill set of Gardner. The always thing that worried about me about Gardner was, how well he can do. Oh my goodness, there's 23 comments since I started doing this. You guys are crazy tonight. This is great. Let's see what's Shero's next move. Re-signing Hall or maybe a trade for another D-man. I don't think I do think that there is the possibility that he signs Gardner and trades a D-man. I think that that's possible. That's out there. That might be the next move, but I don't know. I don't think he has to make another move. I think the moves he has is fine. Maybe he makes a move to fill out the AHL roster, but there's just a lot. Sam, the 29. There's been 30 something comments since you left, Sam.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Well, I was chit-chatting away with
Facebook Live is going crazy.
Facebook Live. Look at Twitter. 151, 53 concurrent people watching us at the same time. The State of the Fan Address, episode 15. It's just insane.
Have we seen Twitter numbers like that?
I no, unless it's like NFL, football on Twitter, something like that, the Super Bowl. I mean, this is absolutely nuts, and we can't thank the fans enough for supporting us, joining in on the conversation. And speaking of joining in on the conversation, somebody has a special message for us on the Bobby's Auto Care hotline. Bobby's Auto Care, 2151 Route 57 in beautiful Washington, New Jersey. Kevin Clark, the Devils PA announcer. Hi, Kevin. Are you excited as we are?
Oh, yeah. I mean, how can you not be with everything that's gone on? As you guys had said, once they drafted Hughes, I mean, it's been just nirvana for Devils fans. So, and today is just, I want to say it's a cherry on top, but, never say never. I wouldn't mind, again, you guys mentioned it, getting another defenseman. I wouldn't mind them signing Gardner. It's just odd that he's still out there, but if he's out there, let's grab him and see what he can do for us. But yeah, and that's why you're getting all those Devils fans commenting on Facebook and Twitter and whatnot, is because everyone's excited. And I've said to a couple people today, it's July. It's still July, folks, and we're this pumped up about Devils hockey. So wait till we get a little bit closer to the starting gun going off. I think there's a lot to look forward to.
Now,
So,
Kevin,
go ahead, Nick.
Oh, sorry. So, I mean, you must be loving this because you got Hughes, who you get to do that long U, and now you got Gusev, who you get to, again, hit that long U on the goals. Are you as excited as ever for a Devil season? And then you got Subban. I mean, we're giving you the U's. Those are big W's.
That's funny. I never thought of it. I'm giving the U's. It goes back to the Zuber days. He's one of my favorite names to ever announce in anything that I've ever done. But these three guys, they're good names, and I've said it. I said it with Hughes, and it holds true for Subban and now Gusev. I can drag those names out for you can go get a beer or something and come on back to your seat. I can still be dragging you through a Gusev. So yeah, they're good names, and as silly as it sounds, I look at that stuff, because it's what I do, and we can have fun with that. And the previous regime in New Jersey kind of wanted to downplay stuff like that, and bless my bosses now at the Devils. They let me have some fun with it, and I will have fun with it, and I hope I have a lot of fun with it on numerous occasions.
That's great. Well, you know what? I'm waiting for this special message. What do you got, Kevin?
I really, this was mean to do to you, but I wanted to, as my old football coach used to say, hold your water, don't go off till the snap counts. So I wanted you guys to hold your water. But so here's the deal. When they drafted Jack Hughes, you asked me to do like a Jack Hughes announcement like it was a game night. I said no. So then they trade for PK Subban. You asked me again. Again, I say no. So I'm feeling like, I'm feeling bad because you guys have been really good to me and had me on a few times, and I love being on, and I love talking with you. So on that note, the first time ever, I say the guy's name that was traded for today will be on this podcast. I haven't even practiced it yet. So the first time ever on the Let's Go Devils podcast. So you let me know when you're ready. It could get loud.
I'm honored. I feel like I'm about to hear some greatness now.
You know what? Let's kind of drag this out a little bit because we want to get the arena feel. So I've got a couple things that remind us of the Prudential Center before you say it. Now, does he have a number yet? Do you know or no?
97. He's 97.
He's wearing 97.
Okay, so let's pretend we're in the Prudential Center right now. All right,
we're ready.
Kevin. We're ready.
Devils fans, please welcome number 97, Nikita Gusev.
Wow. I feel I'm flapping my wings right now. I'm feeling the goose. I'm feeling the goose, and you know what?
Oh yeah, can we do the wing flap? Can that be a thing? Can we make this a thing?
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I think you guys just started it. I can see that. Like the what was that movie? Angels in the Outfield, right? When they would do the angel wings. Maybe that's. I'm showing my age here, but anyway, I can see the fans doing that when Gusev does something or comes out or whatnot, doing the wing flap. I like that.
They're going crazy on Twitter. They're just doing all the hearts, 172 concurrent. Just heard that. A lot of people on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, they are going crazy right now. Kevin, that's awesome. On the afternoon podcast, I was going crazy myself, and I was thinking Goose. And I'm thinking Top Gun. How about the Top Gun line? Yeah, with Maverick, Goose, Iceman, and I was even saying when he scores the game-winning goal against the New York Rangers to knock him out of the playoffs, and he's doing that little, goal celebration, and he's like, "Yeah, Jester's dead," and it's just, I'm getting crazy right now. I'm pumped.
Well,
I got goosebumps, Kevin.
I work goose bumps. I get it. Pun intended. I work on the production side for the Devils, so you immediately, and I know this is going on with my bosses at the Devils. Their brains are, the wheels are turning about creative ways you can use the goose and all that for game nights. So we got a nice creative group at Prudential Center. So I think you're going to see some good stuff this year, and we're seeing some good stuff this summer, huh?
Oh, I feel like 80s night is going to be extra special this year.
I agree.
And you know what? Hugh Weber, if you're listening to me right now, hopefully you are, or you're watching, team up with Top Gun 2, production team, have a Top Gun night. I mean, can you imagine? And then the goose, and then this is, oh my goodness. It just, yeah. It's going to be.
Are we starting a Get Tom Cruise to the Prudential Center campaign? Is that our next campaign?
Oh, good luck with that.
Yeah, good luck. Maybe we'll get.
All I can think of is game night is cues from Subban and Gusev. Belting that one out. That could take me a couple minutes to get through that one. You're dragging all the U's out. So as soon as I heard about the trade, that's what goes through my mind. Okay, Hughes from Subban and Gusev. We're gonna have some fun.
Wow.
And then you got a couple of those hit it hard names like Bratt or Hall. It's like one side or the other for the Devils. You could get through one goal in about 5 seconds. And the next goal could take you 5 minutes.
Yeah, Bratt's a tough one. Taylor Hall's not too bad. We can drag out the Hall part, but yeah, with anything that ends with a hard consonant is can be difficult. Like an Andy Green or Brad or Adam Henrique was always a hard one for me too. I don't know why. I just never felt comfortable doing his name, but yeah, we got the new kids in town, and it's we're gonna make it fun.
You just call him Jesper. We'll just keep him. Him and Boquist could just be Jesper and Jesper.
Oh yeah, that's going to be interesting. How many times are going to screw that one up? Call one the other, or vice versa. But as long as I'm announcing a goal, a Devils goal, I don't really care who scores it, as long as it's the good guys.
I think you're going to be announcing a lot more this year. A lot more.
I'm ready. I mean, the season ended early, so I'm well rested, I'm ready to go now. I'm excited about it. I really am excited about it. And, and I heard about the trade today, and I'm at work, and they wanted me to, I've said this line before, they actually wanted me to do stuff at work once the trade happened. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, you people don't understand where my focus is. You don't understand my priorities. It's not the job that pays my bills and puts a roof over my head. It's Devils hockey. That's where my priority is. So as soon as they made that trade, my focus at work was gone. And that's a good thing.
Oh, that's great. Well, Kevin, thank you so much.
I hope my bosses aren't listening.
I see. I think the same thing every day.
Yeah. Well, it's been my pleasure. You guys, I love coming on, and I love the stuff you do, and the interaction you get with the fans, and gives them a little bit of a voice, and on days like today, it gives them a group they can celebrate with, and when things aren't going well, it gives them maybe a group they can vent a little bit with, and I think that's a good thing. And hopefully, as we go forward here, it's a lot of celebrating, and we get you a lot more followers on the podcast and really build up your numbers. Hopefully today helped.
Oh, it absolutely did. And Kevin, thank you so much for that presentation and getting a preview of what it's going to be like when Gusev scores. And we'll definitely be in touch. That is Kevin Clark, PA announcer of the New Jersey Devils on the Bobby's Auto Care Hotline. Wow, I wasn't expecting that at all. And it means a lot, Kevin. But yeah, we got a little bit of a preview exclusively on the State of the Fan address. And wow, we're going to have a lot of content to cut up in the next couple hours after the podcast is over. We will make sure that this podcast in entirety will be up, on iTunes, iHeart, Spotify, wherever you can find us after the show. And we got one more guest. I know Beer Baron is, dying to come on to the State of Fan address. But before we get him on and I go reach out to him, thank you those that have been retweeting. Thank you those that have been sharing the link on YouTube Live. We're seeing some numbers right now. Facebook, thank you. I even pinned Cheryl Miller's comment. We're all sharing the podcast. Yes, that's what we want to do. We want to share the podcast with all Devils fans or even NHL fans. We do have a lot of some Ranger fans and Flyer fans that listen to us because they want to hear what we have to say and how our team is going. And right now, congratulations to New Jersey Devils. You are the cat's meow on the news cycle of the NHL right now. Even when it's kind of dead, Ray Shero gets it done. And when Joshua Harris said during that PK Subban wonderful press conference, which was awesome, by the way, he said Ray Shero's not done. And then I was like, we better be on our A game and be prepared that there's going to be breaking news, Nick, because we're on a summer schedule right now, but it seems like we're in full playoff mode. When you say,
I mean, is it really a summer schedule? I mean, the only thing that's different is that, you guys took a break from the traditional Sunday night podcast, but we still got weekly content. And I think we've done more twice weekly shows now than we did during the season. We did a couple, what's called in the biz, a couple whips. We did a couple whips, a couple like 5-10 minute ditties, but we're having 3 hours of content in some weeks. And in draft week, we had 7 hours of content. It's been ridiculous, but there's been a ton to talk about.
Ton to celebrate about, reason to be really fired up for the 2019-2020 season, which, by the way, season 3 will kick off on September 15th, Sunday, September 15th at 9 p.m. Eastern. Also, I'll even drop it since we have a lot of people listening in. The podcast is going to be on the road October 4th and October 5th. We can't announce where it's going to be, but yes, the podcast, we're going to do pregame podcasts, live locations, October 4th, 5th. We have wonderful guests lined up, but we just can't announce it. It's end of July. We're already talking about all that stuff. Nick, we got to get you flown up to New Jersey to be part of the 4th and 5th. We'll talk about that, off air also. We're really season 3 is going to be different for the Let's Go Devils podcast and State of Fan address. Man, I'm very pleased what's going on in Devils land. both the team and the podcast and the platform, all powered by Nova Product Design on the Primetime Radio Network. So, but yeah, we should get Beer Baron on because I can't wait to
we got more to talk about.
But I think you could talk to our chatty viewers right now. But let me get Beer Baron and let's get you on camera right now. There you go. Let me get Beer Baron.
This is just a beautiful sight, and that's beyond my face. This is just the happiness that comes with Gusev. This is insane. So here we go. I mean, I'm looking at Cap Friendly right now. Shout out to them. They've done great. So if I was going to bring one thing to dissent for you folks out there who want, like I said, this isn't a slam dunk that we're going to be the greatest team of the generation, because the Devils have some taking care of to do. The Devils really need to find a couple of those Kyle Palmieri or Damon Severson contracts where they get a guy in for 6 years around $5 million, and he exceeds that every year going forward. The only person they have right now doing that is Severson. Severson signed for the next 4 seasons, $4.16 million, ridiculous price. I think that's what they're trying to do with Will Butcher right now. We still got to see what his contract looks like. And I bet you they're hoping to do the same thing with Zacha. I bet you they're hoping to put Zacha on a 6-year deal, somewhere around $2.5 million, $3 million a season, instead of putting him on a 2-year bridge deal where he's making like 1.8. Because, they're trying to pay now. They've seen some things with Zacha. I think if they lost a lot of faith in Zacha, and if they felt that Zacha wasn't a piece for the future of this team, and they felt like his offensive upside has been seen already and it just wasn't going to work out, I feel like this contract would be done already. But I think Zacha wants to, he knows he hasn't been the best, and he knows he hasn't lived up to that number 6 overall draft pick, but I think that the Devils think that he's got another 3, 4, 5 steps to take, and they want to put him on that really good contract, but we're going to not this season. This season's going to be the Taylor Hall show when it comes to contract negotiations, but the season after that is going to get interesting because you got Zajac coming off the books, you got Kyle Palmieri, you got Gusev coming off the books, you got Blake Coleman coming off the books. You also have, you got Carrick, it's fine, but then, you're going to have, I believe, you got a couple other contracts that are going to be coming up that you're going to have to pay for. But, in 2 years is when we're going to have to see what the Devils are going to do. Sam, you're back.
Oh, I'm back. You know who I have on the Bobby's Auto Care hotline, huh?
Oh, what's going on? The Bobby's Auto Care hotline has gotten a lot of play tonight.
Oh, I know. Bobby's Auto Care, 2151 Route 57, beautiful downtown Washington, New Jersey. We've got the Beer Baron, co-host of the Let's Go Devils podcast, drinking beers right now down at the Jersey Shore. Beer Baron, you are on the State of the Fan address with Nick and Sam. How are you, man?
What's going on, fellas? How's it going?
I'm a happy camper. I'm going to tell you that.
There's such a belated pause there. I didn't know if you were happy or if you're just that overwhelmed.
Well, it's a little bit of chemistry issue because Nick and I are still trying to get to know each other. So I wasn't sure if I should talk or he should talk. But your phone wasn't on you. But when did you find out that the Gusev trade go down when you're down at the shore?
It's really funny because this morning my brother and I went down to the beach and we're setting everything up and kind of getting everything, the tent put up and all the chairs and all that kind of jazz so everybody can just come and hang out. And we sat down and we were talking about the off season that the Devils have had so far. Now you have to understand my brother lives in Seattle, so this is the one time a year that we get a chance to actually get together and sit down and hang out. And we're sitting there talking about it, and I go, it'd be fun if the Devils found a way to get Gusev. And it'd be even funner if they found out a way to get it today. And we're sitting there and we're like, yeah, that would be pretty sweet.
And then, the day continues on, and he happened to have his phone on him, and all of a sudden he just starts cracking up, and I'm like, what's so funny? And he goes, Vegas has gotten a 2020 and 2021 second and third round pick, and the Devils just got Gusev, and we were jumping up and down. It was the funniest thing. We couldn't believe it, but yeah, kind of an interesting way of finding out information. Feel kind of lost when you don't have your phone on your hip, but it's an incredible day for the franchise. I feel like each step that the team is making this year or this offseason is everything that Ray Shero promised, not just to us, but to Taylor Hall. So I know you guys have probably talked about it, but it would be interesting to see what's going to happen during camp.
So when you see this Nikita Gusev deal, just tell me your initial thoughts. I want to see, Beerbang, you're a guy who talks about the Devils on a weekly basis. So you're thinking about those little intricate things that most fans aren't thinking about, kind of how this affects, because we got to talk about an hour for this thing. And this is how your mind's going to work. So when the deal first happened, where did your mind first go to?
Well, my first thought is, where is he going to slot in? Is he going to be on the second line? Is he going to push for first line minutes? Is he going to translate? That's the biggest thing. Is he going to translate into the NHL? Is this going to be one of those, all these moves that the Devils have made over the offseason are all great on paper. But now it's time to see this stuff translate into wins. So my biggest thing is, yeah, he's been the reigning KHL MVP for the last 2 seasons, and he has the numbers to back it up. He's got a lot of potential. Is he going to come over to the U.S. and actually translate? Because it would be terrible to have egg on your face when everybody's getting all excited about it. And it's kind of like, I blame Doc Kelley about this because, there was a lot of movement and push for Gusev to be on the Devils. And I feel like he was one of the main reasons behind that. But it got me excited. And to be honest with you, after kind of processing all that little tidbit kind of things, all I can think about is the excitement that this kid could potentially bring to this team. I mean, thinking about a line that could have Hughes centering Jesper Bratt and Nikita Gusev, I mean, they're going to have to get slow-mo cameras just to figure out what those guys are doing on the ice.
It's going to be ridiculous. I mean, honestly, I'm watching highlights of him right now. I'm listening to you talk about him. I'm watching highlights, and it's some of the moves that this guy can make is what's crazy. Like the Devils don't, he's making Jack Hughes type moves against, adult competition. He's quote unquote playing against men, and he's making these professional hockey players look like they don't deserve to be on the ice anymore. And, I don't think he'll be able to get to that level in the NHL, at least in that first year. I think there's going to be a process, but I mean, like Tyler Kelley said, 65 points is easily in reach. And, if you compare that to somebody like Nikita Gusev, that doesn't look so good. But when you compare it to us last year, that's 15 points more than anybody had on this team from a second line guy.
Exactly. And the possibility of what the power play could look like. I mean, with Subban and all these different things, all these little pieces. Like, it was funny. My brother and I sat there and we're trying to, figure out what the first line wave of the power play could look like, and trying to slot each person into each individual area. And you're like, well, Simmons would be down in front of the net, of course. And then you have, you could put Palmieri over here on this, and like just going through all the different possibilities. They have so many different options. And this team, like I said, on paper, looks so ridiculously good and nice and sexy. And it's funny because I read, and I can't give proper credit to whoever wrote it, but I read it on Twitter. Somebody was like, these are like the New York Rangers moves this offseason, but way smarter.
You're absolutely correct. And the way smarter.
Who wrote that so I could give that credit?
But you know what? The way smarter is because he didn't break the bank. There's how much salary cap space is left so far, Nick?
We have 12 million, but we got 12 million, but take $2 million away for Smith and Boquist, and then you got to give, say Zaka and Butcher make 6 total. It's still enough. It's still enough to make another move.
Mm-hmm. And by accounts, there's also rumors floating around that Ray is still looking for, a top 4 D-man. So whether that be Gardner, whether that be some another trade he has up his sleeve, it's nice to see. I don't know about if you guys obviously remember the days of Lou Lamoriello where there would be, even the slightest whisper, which you'd have to automatically dismiss as being false because nothing ever leaked out of there. But any kind of optimism was always met with like, well, I guess we got Ryan Clough. And it's nice now to have and I'm not bashing on Lou. Don't get me wrong. He brought us 3 Stanley Cups. I love Lou Lamoriello. I just like the new look of this team, of this franchise, the feeling, you know what I mean? Like the excitement, the on ice, the off ice, everything that's going along with it, letting the players have personalities, hell, letting them grow a beard in the middle of the season without having to, get yelled at. I just like the direction that this team has been going in. And this is just, I don't want to say it's like Kevin said, I don't want to say it's the cherry on the top, but I want to say this is some mighty fine sprinkles.
I mean, here's the thing is that, a lot of people have said, the Devils aren't going to be able to draw the big names, but I think this offseason has done more to draw big names than anything the Devils could have done. The fact that the way that they presented PK Subban after trading for him, and then look at the social media domination that the New Jersey Devils physical account has done. I mean, I'm looking right now to meme. They replied to the NHL Network, who is complaining about Taylor Hall earlier today, and then after the trade, they had like a banner that said additions and subtractions, and they put a bunch of pictures of geese on the side of additions, and this is just the marketing of that. And I know you guys talked about this in the last I know Sam, you talked about this in the earlier podcast, but just their marketing team has been on point, and that's going to do more to get the big names in New Jersey than almost everything else. Knowing that a player is going to trust this team with their brand, and this team is going to hit it on the head. I have not heard the name Taylor Hall very much out of the Devils account because they haven't needed to. Imagine what they're going to do after what they've done with Subban, after what they've done with Gusev, with the former most valuable player in this league. This team is doing things that we didn't think it was possible out of New Jersey. They're stealing the headlines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, think about how big of just think about how big of an offseason that the New York Rangers have had. Just think about how big of an offseason the Rangers have had, and the Devils are in the headlines more often. That's just a fact.
Yeah. And for good reason too. That's the positive thing about this is they're in the headlines for good things. And it's not because some player got drunk and got a DUI. It's not because the team is in jeopardy of being sold. It's nothing negative. It's all positive. This entire summer has been such a positive just boost to a fan base that had to go through, quite honestly, one of the worst seasons in recent memory. And it just feels good. That whole PK Subban presser, everything that they did, from having that giant thing, the giant letter spelling out Devils behind him, to the Ric Flair thing, to the, every little touch that they added into that. You're 100% right. I think this everything's starting to change in a very positive direction for this team. And I just hope all of this translate onto the ice into wins, because if it's all for naught, then it sucks. But if it's stay in the positivity boat, if all of this translates into wins, there's no way. I'm going to go out there on record and say this right now. There's no way that this team is not making the playoffs.
That's big. So Beer Brown, we're going to let you go, but real quick, I just wanted to tell you, we're still 2 months a little over 2 months from the start of the season. But what are you most excited for? What are you most excited to see as this season is about to begin?
I think overall product. I'm just excited to see when this team actually gets together. Everything is whittled down because there's guys on this team that I like. Boquist, I am super excited to see that kid actually push to make an NHL spot. And Jack Hughes, I'm super excited to see what this kid is going to be able to do in the NHL. Nico Hischier, his maturity level. I want to see what he's going to be like. Watching all these videos of Jesper Bratt skating and doing these crazy drills, I want to see what he's bringing to the table, and the possibility of Taylor Hall finally saying, you know what, all right, Ray, you got me. You got all the things I asked for. All right, give me the piece of paper. Let's sign this. And he's signing an extension, and this team go forward in a very positive and winning direction. I'm excited about pretty much everything.
Well said. Well said, Beer Baron. Hey, thank you for taking some time from your mini vacation to come on to the podcast, and we'll see you soon. All right, bud?
Sounds good, guys. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Thanks, Beer Baron. That is Beer Baron, also known as Scott, here on the State of the Fan Address, episode 15. The social media has just gone wild. We talked about the Devils' social media going wild. We're going wild. I mean, we still have over 200 concurrent viewers on Twitter Periscope right now. Our Facebook Live is still humming. YouTube Live, we still have a lot of people listening, watching us. And I haven't even seen the letsgodevils.com, the audio stream. For those that are listening in the car, listening to us live as they make their way, again, it's not safe to watch and drive at the same time. So we're going to have some solutions for that come early September. Nick, this has been a pleasure, a privilege to do this special podcast. We'll be back Wednesday night. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be on the road.
It's time.
What's that?
It's time. It's time to tell them.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We got a surprise. I forgot about the surprise. Yeah,
you thought today was big.
Yeah, I thought today was big. But, I mean, after that Kevin Clark thing, wow. Yeah, we got somebody big on Wednesday. Who do we have? Nick?
So, I mean, this is big. We got, and just want to point out, Sam, we got 213 concurrent views on Twitter. We're really doing things tonight. And you know what? You guys are gonna want to listen on Wednesday. We got the new guy with the Devils coming on. And you know what? It's funny. I was talking to him today, and we were talking about what we were gonna talk about. And I don't know if he knew anything or not, but I just remember when I sent him the things that I wanted to talk to him about, he goes, just talk to me on Wednesday and, maybe things will change. So maybe he knew. Maybe he knew, Sam.
Wow.
His name is Chris Westcott with the New Jersey Devils. One of the new media guys with the New Jersey Devils will come on the Let's Go Devils podcast. He's going to talk about what it's like to move to New Jersey, what it's like to come to this team, learn all the new guys. He's going to talk about Jack Hughes. He's going to talk about PK Subban. He's going to talk about a lot of things. And what do you think, Sam? You think he's going to talk the Goose? You think he's going to talk Nikita Gusev?
You know what? If he knew what was going on and hold it to secrecy, that that the Goose is going to be loose in New Jersey. It's like now that the Goose is out of the bag right now.
Oh,
yeah, you like that? We're just corny puns all over the place. It's like he's been wanting to talk, and now he's got the freedom, and we got him Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific. he's going to be giving us some great analysis loaded with information about that. And I wish, he may not say it on air, but like, I really want to know, did you get a heads up about this, or did you find out when just on the brink of when the news was going to be out? And it's funny you say that, Nick, because I thought that social media team was loaded with great content. I mean, pasting his face on a goose that's flapping, in that little animation thing that they have posted. I mean, it almost seemed like it was rapid fire, like they were ready to put content out there. So I'm looking forward to talking to Chris on Wednesday. And by the way, I will be in the mobile studio command center on Wednesday. I'll be actually doing the podcast from Seabright, New Jersey. I had a little scheduling conflict, so I'm going to have to leave where the function that I'm going to be at to do the podcast in the car. And
this is how much we care about you Devils fans. This is how big of a deal this podcast is for us, is that we know that this is important to a lot of us, and talking Devils hockey is big for us because, growing up, we didn't have a lot of these things where people were talking about specifically Devils hockey. We had to wait for the 10 seconds that we had on SportsCenter or maybe 15 seconds in Canada.
Oh, yeah.
This is big. And we understand that, it's a privilege that we get to talk about Devils hockey like this, and we want to bring it to you as much as possible.
Yeah, so we got a lot of things going on Wednesday. We got a T-shirt contest going, the new design that's really more geared toward mainstream. If you're from New Jersey, you're just going to absolutely love it. I also probably will ask Chris, has he tried the Taylor ham yet? Since
What's
he's been here. Yeah, exactly. It's actually Taylor Ham, buddy, and we were actually arguing.
No,
about
Taylor Hall. We like Taylor Hall.
All right. That's enough. I'm gonna start cueing that outro music. It's getting late right now. We've gone about 90 minutes for this podcast, which will be available for your morning and afternoon drive, and we're going to be putting some more content out there. If you haven't already, and this is the first time you've listened to this podcast, you should also check out the Pucks and Pitchforks blog on Fansided, pucksandpitchforks.com. Is that the URL? I think that's the URL.
Yeah,
I always get
pitchforks.com. It's Pitchforks Puck on Twitter, which is what confuses a lot of people.
Yeah. So, but type it in the search. You can also go on to all the Let's Go Devils podcast social media platforms. But this podcast will be available after we're done here. It should be available in the next couple hours. We'll drop it in, and all is well in Devils land. So, Nick, you got any final words before we outro out?
I just want to say, how long is it going to take before we get Nikita Gusev a Wawa sponsorship? I feel like this needs to happen. Hey, Wawa, get our guy. Get the Russian on board. Let's go. Gusev, yeah. Wawa. Just put Gusev faces on top of that Wawa goose. It's Hoagie Fest. It's Gusev Fest. It's Gusev Mania. Let's go, Sam. Let's go, Devils.
And to all the Devils employees watching, the ideas are free. We don't want anything. Just get it done. Make us laugh. Make us have that pride when we walk into that Wawa or Quick Check or whatever. When I go to Investors Bank, set me up with a golden egg goose account when I start a checking account. Or who's another sponsors? PartyPoker.com still sponsor, or you know what?
William Hill.
Yeah, William Hill. Let me bet on the goose. I want to bet on
the goose trifecta. Let's do the goose trifecta.
Yeah. Or on Nathan Hot Dogs, dollar hot dog night. I don't know.
Is there
Somehow put
goose
the
in hot
goose-
dog? Is that one of the meats in hot dog?
I don't know. I think that's just confidential information that we're not privy to. But yeah, I mean, do something with this, or the Top Gun. Goose and Maverick. Try to get the Top Gun 2 people at the arena. There's plenty of ideas there. The ideas are free, but hey, you want to throw us some money that way, Hugh Weber, you're more than welcome to. Anyway, enough
He could go to
said.
Patreon.
Yeah, we got to create that for season 3. Be accepting donations left and right, monthly membership, local call out, Yeah. Okay, so I'd like to thank all the listeners, viewers of this podcast, episode 15 of State of the Fan Address on the Let's Go Devils podcast platforms, powered by Nova Product Design and on the Primetime Radio Network. And a big thank you to Bobby's Auto Care for providing the Bobby's Auto Care hotline for all 3 guests tonight. Well, Nick, until next time, see you Wednesday. Let's go Devils.